Are there names you still want to fight in this division? Because we always ask you,
I need my rematches. I need D-Rod. I didn't spend all that bail money for no reason. And then I need Mike Malott.
Did you actually bail him out in D-Rod?
I mean, he said it.
You were a top contender in the UFC's welterweight division, and then somehow or another you wound up getting arrested in Mexico.
What happened? Where were you? What have you been through? Take us from the beginning up until now, if you can.
Went on vacation to cross the border. I crossed the border of Mexico, and forgot I had a little bag of weed with me, man.
I was thinking, all right, I'm just gonna be here for the weekend. I'll get out Monday, go to court. And they're like, no, we'll see you in a month.
12 days there, I was in like a 6-man cell with like 25 people in there, man. Dudes sleeping on the floor, 2 men per bunk. And I couldn't even sleep, man. It was just disgusting in there. It's horrible. It's the most horrible situation you could think of.
And you said you had a really great legal team. Did you try and make any calls? Did you try and involve Dana White? Obviously, Dana, a very powerful person with connections.
My management did reach out to Hunter, and they couldn't do anything. I guess
Nothing.
One of the guards recognized me and started asking me for pictures. I'm like...
I'm in handcuffs and shit. He's like, yo, can I get a picture? I'm like, what? What?
Fortunately, word got around that I was in there and got shot up to the VIP section, so.
And they pulled me to this dude, and this dude's like, oh, you're a UFC fighter? It turns out the dude's like head of the cartel, like a cartel leader. And he's like, I want to just show you around a little bit, let you know how we're running things over here,
And in the back of my mind, I kind of had a sense like, I think this guy's using me as protection, I'm kind of like his bodyguard or some shit like that, but I just ran with it,
Damn, that is wild.
I get there and there's TVs in the fucking cell. Dude has a PlayStation. He has like just all the amenities you can think of.
We only went to yard twice a week, and those days were the only days I'll get to run.
And it just so happened that the dude that I was cellmates with, he had a little bit of boxing experience. So he had been a boxer before, so I was like, oh, perfect, and he actually knew how to hold pads and stuff. So I ended up spending this whole time.
Please tell me you didn't spar him.
No, he wanted to.
No.
And I was just trying to do everything I could do to try and stay in shape, man. And it just time went on.
8, almost 9 months for a bag of weed is insane. I never thought twice.
There's a ton of fighters even try to pull some strings for me, like Yair Rodriguez, Brandon Moreno. He's from TJ.
I watch my own fights to keep myself motivated and in the game, and just a reminder of what's ahead of me out here.
Nobody could help me out, man. Everybody tried to pull strings for me, and
nobody came up with a number. Did they?
Eventually.
Coming off that big win, man, that's been my motivation, because I know that once I get out, the story's gonna be big, man, and it's just, this is the type of shit the movies are made of, man.
For the first time in its 33-year existence, the UFC is headed to Serbia, and they are taking 8 brand new UFC fighters with them. My name is Angelo, this is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Belgrade fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before we look forward, let's take a second and stay in the present. First of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you because we just hit an all-time premium member number. We have more premium members right now than we ever had before. Now, I'm not going to tell you the exact number because everybody just loves to do that quick math. Take that number, times it by 10, not factoring in taxes, expenses, or anything else. But thank you very, very much, genuinely, for being here. And I'm sure how well we've been doing is contributing to that number. Here's a look at UFC Abu Dhabi. Dominated this card. Absolutely dominated this card. In fact, I had a full clean sweep. Every single bet that I put out on the board came back as a winning ticket, including the safety parlay. That's 11 safety parlays in a row. The previous record was 8. So we're well past 8. We have hit 11 safety parlays in a row. And I know a whole bunch of you, the only thing you do is go to the website, wewantpicks.com, and tail the safety parlay. And that's all that you do. You're doing quite well. But I wasn't the only one with a clean sweep. Bet Sam also had a clean sweep. He hit every single bet he put in the world. I brought back a 102% ROI. Betsam brought back a 150% ROI. Kunith brought back a 47% ROI. We absolutely dominated the UFC Abu Dhabi card with almost 16 units of net profit, and we have been dominating a lot lately. So anybody who is a premium member has been doing spectacularly well. And if you haven't become one, I encourage you to do too. But just because everything has been going insanely well for most premium members doesn't mean we didn't have to clean a few things up on the website. The second thing I want to do is make a couple of quick announcements. Typically, when I sit here and have an announcement or an update for premium, I'm revealing some brand new sparkly tool, but not this time. What we've done over the last couple of months is clean things up, tighten things, and make things run better than they have ever run before. We've solved two somewhat major issues that some people were having. The first of which, some people were having caching issues. You would log into the website, you would try to access a premium page, and it would just send you right back to the login page for no reason whatsoever. Other people using the app would try to access a premium page, and it would say, access denied. But you would be logged in, and you had an active account, and it made no sense. So we would have you clear a cache, and that would resolve the issue. The problem was this was outside of our control. The issue wasn't our website. The issue was our hosting platform. We use GoDaddy. And what GoDaddy was doing is they were caching the pages without you being logged in. So then when you went to go access the page, it delivered a cached version as quickly as possible, but you weren't logged in. And you weren't using a live version. So when you were logged in, it didn't matter. It was just using the cached version over and over. And that's a lot of technical bullshit to say GoDaddy was screwing up your experience. So we fixed it. We went ahead, we added custom code that tells GoDaddy, stop caching our pages. So that issue is 100% resolved. If you had experienced that in the past, that is no longer a thing. It doesn't happen anymore, and it won't happen on the app or the website or in any other circumstances whatsoever. The second improvement that we have made is accepting credit card payments. Previously, we had to use a credit card processor called authorize.net. And what they did is they would take the credit card and they would send it to a different processor. And the way that it worked was they would take $1 and then later that night, they would refund the $1 and charge the full $10. The problem is in that process where they would refund $1, then charge the full $10, some banks were like, this is weird, I don't like this. And they would reject the payment. So then you would reach out the next day and say, hey, I don't know what happened. I don't have access. And then I would look it up and I would say, yep, this is what happened. And we would have to start that cycle all over again. That is gone. We are done with that. That is no longer an issue because we're not using them anymore. We now have a completely different credit card processor. And what they are doing is charging the full 10, like any other normal business on this planet. So we have resolved two underlying headaches and we have made this even better, even faster, even more efficient. So the best service that has ever existed just got a little cleaner for all of you. So thank you very much for being here. And if you experienced any of those problems before, they're gone, they're dead, and it'll never happen again. Now, if you think that little intro got you out of a premium pitch, you'd be out of your mind because we did build the greatest service this place has ever seen. We are building it as we go, and we are coding tools from scratch. One of the tools that we coded from scratch is the data analyzer. So of course, we have picks, we have bets, but we also have tools. Data Analyzer allows you to manipulate data to find your spots. The Tape Index is a window into every single fight that a fighter has had. And if you click the little red play button, the video pops up and you can do tape study with your own eyes. We have a fight simulator, simulates fights 100,000 times, gives you the individual outputs. We have a line movement tracker, gives you the opening odds, current odds, win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. We have built the greatest service this space has ever seen. We have coded tools from scratch. We have 5 different human cappers that are making pits at remarkable accuracy. We have people just crushing bets this year. This has been a spectacular run for the boys. So if you want to hop on board and experience the greatest service this space has ever had, it's only $10 to give it a try. Go to wewantpicks.com, click become a member. It's $10. You unlock everything instantly for an entire month. Here's what that month looks like. You're going to get the UFC Belgrade fight card. You're going to get the UFC Vegas card. You're going to get UFC 30. You're going to get the other UFC Vegas card. 4 solid fight cards for $10. It's $10 now. It'll be $10 tomorrow. It has always been $10. It always will be $10. Greatest service this space has ever seen. WeWantPicks.com. Let's go ahead and dive right in. We have 14 fights, and I promise you, you haven't heard of 3/4 of these names. So if you are watching this because you don't have time to do the ridiculous amount of research that I had to do, strap in. because I did the work for you. We're going to open up this card with Marina Spasic taking on Stephanie Luciano. Marina Spasic is a stocky striker. She has power. She has speed. She is a professional kickboxer, and she fights like a professional kickboxer. She's very long for this weight class. She uses that length and that strength to defend takedowns and fire away in the clinch. She throws fast. She throws in combinations, but she doesn't throw recklessly. Her knees may actually be her biggest asset, and she loves launching them up the middle in a clinch situation. Stephanie Luciano is going to be on the other side of that cage. She's a busy come-forward striker as well. She wants to close the distance, get you to the cage, but then she'll work some takedowns. If she gets you to the ground, she'll camp out, she'll rack up some control while staying safe and occasionally working in an elbow or two. She is not dangerous, but she is always moving forward and has plenty of cardio. She is coming off that submission win over Ravina Oliveira. And anytime we get a professional kickboxer that heads over to the UFC, the biggest question is, what does their takedown defense look like? And in this case, I don't know. I have no clue. I have spent a ridiculous amount of time digging through the fight tape, and finding real takedown attempts is essentially impossible. When I saw that she had one loss on her record, I was like, nice, here we go. I raced to it because I figured that must have been a fight where she was kind of taken down and held down. But it wasn't. She just lost a striking match by someone who was a little faster and a little busier. I can make the assumption, though. I can assume that because Marina's knees are so incredible and because she has great clinch work, she should at least have serviceable takedown defense. If her takedown defense stands up at all, she wins this fight because she is the better striker between the two. The gap on the feet is going to be insanely wide. So I'm going to pick the nasty striker to beat the grappler. I'm probably going to wait, though. We don't have odds yet, but I'm probably going to wait and not bet Marina just yet. And there's a theme on this card. Almost all of the Serbian fighters are going to be very good strikers with relatively untested grappling. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, striking is just bigger in that part of the world. And two, they are fighting in that part of the world. So they're fighting other fighters like themselves. They're not fighting these corn-fed country Americans that are shooting takedowns. They're not fighting the Russians that are shooting takedowns. They're staying in their little world and fighting other strikers. So the tape study this time around was a little bit trickier and a little more deep divey than usual. Then we have Jovan Leka taking on Alexander Poppeck. This is a brand new fight. Alexander Poppeck is stepping up on short notice because the fat slob heavyweight grappler bowed out. That was going to be a problem for Jovan. This one might not be. We had Jovan Leka, a solid striker. He's got a good jab. He pumps that out. He throws a good amount of kicks as well. He'll touch the legs heavy, and then he'll work up to your head. He has more volume and more cardio than most big boys do, but he does lack in the wrestling department. He doesn't typically use wrestling as a plan A, but if he has you rocked or if you're overextended, he may go ahead and shoot a takedown. He is fast, he is clean, and he is athletic. He is taking on Alexander Poppeck, a light heavyweight who is stepping up on short notice, so he will be fighting here at heavyweight. Style-wise, he is a mobile striker who bounces on his toes. He likes to stay on the outside, bounce in, touch, and then back out. He can wrestle as well. He looks to get fights to the ground. When he is on top, he ground and pounds to get you to react, and then he's going to look for a submission. But if you don't give him that submission, he is happy to punch and elbow for the finish. We have two guys here. Both of them have been on the Contender Series, but neither one of them got the call up until now. Leka actually won his fight last season, but he wasn't excited enough to get a contract. Poppeck was on the Contender Series back in 2019, where he was knocked out by former world champion and all-time great Jamal Hill. Poppeck is probably going to be the more athletic of these two fighters, despite not looking like it. He's certainly going to have the better footwork, but he doesn't really like to strike and will want to wrestle. That just isn't a great idea against somebody much bigger and on short notice. I think Leka is going to get the hands going. I think he defends the takedowns. I think he potentially even finishes against Poppeck. So Poppeck is going to come in here. He's going to be jacked, trim, but keep in mind he's a light heavyweight moving up. Leka is a big boy. Leka is going to be fast. He's going to be clean. Alexander Poppeck's going to look to wrestle. Those takedowns aren't great. I think Leka gets it done. We don't have odds yet. If they're reasonable, I probably will place a bet on him. Then we have Nina Milosevic taking on Hailey Cowan. Nina Milosevic is a very well-rounded fighter. She is looking for a knockout in most of her fights, but she will match your grappling energy. She's got a great variety in her strikes. She loves to finish in combinations with her kicks. Her takedown defense is fundamentally sound, and she does a really good job stuffing the head and then spinning behind. She can grapple as well. She's got submissions on top or bottom, but she doesn't really create scrambles and can get stuck on her back. She is taking on Hailey Cowan, tall, long, athletic. She's not the most technical fighter, and at this point, the UFC is definitely using her to build up young talent. She has powerful striking, though, solid takedown defense, plenty of cardio. Her athleticism typically can carry her to a win and make up for some lack of technique. She is coming off that knockout loss to Alice Pereira. Nina's going to be the pick. You can see the odds, and those are probably about right. The reality is Hailey Cowan still has a job because she's here to lose to Nina. Clearly, Hailey wants to highlight the young prospect. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's going to happen here. Nina is 10 times the fighter that Hailey is, and Hailey's only hope is going to be her size. She's going to be much bigger here. Her athleticism may help as well, but her athleticism only helps when she's not quite as good as the other fighter, and the athleticism just another little tool in the bag that can level the playing field. In this case, she's not even remotely close to as good of a fighter. So just being a little more athletic and a little bigger isn't going to be enough to close that gap. Nina's the pick. We might even have a rare lady round line under in this matchup. And then we have my boy, Mateusz Rebecki, taking on Kyle Prepolec. I say my boy because every time I break down Mateusz Rebecki, I talk about how good he is, how dangerous he is, and I either pick him or I talk about how I want to pick him, but I just can't because he bleeds so damn fast. This is going to be more of the same. Mateusz Rebecki is a fast starter. He throws a giant 1-2. He starts diving at legs, and even though he's a grappler, he'll stick around for a striking match. Mateusz Rebecki is a dog. He's the dog of dogs. He will take a beating. He will deliver a beating. He will never slow down. He will never stop. And his pace is always absolutely ridiculous. The problem is he gets sloppy and he bleeds immediately. You hit this guy with 2 jabs and that eye is swollen shut and there's blood coming out of his nose for some reason. He is coming off that submission loss to his teammate, Grant Dawson. He's taking on Kyle Prepolec, a forward pressure guy who is going to recklessly strike before looking to grapple. He's not technical on the feet, but he does have decent takedowns. He is very tough, but he's not particularly dangerous. Kyle can be fun in fights, but unfortunately for him, he hasn't found success yet, and he is 0-4 in the UFC across multiple stints. Most recently, he was knocked out by Drew Dober. I'm just happy for Rebecki. I love this guy. I love watching him fight. He's a ton of fun. And finally, he has a winnable matchup. They didn't give him a killer. He's one of the most exciting guys on the UFC roster. And because he's exciting and because he had some early success, it honestly kind of screwed him. He's been stuck fighting actually good fighters, and his recent record is a reflection of that. The good news here, though, is that he's not fighting somebody any good, and he'll get a win. Rebecki is wild. His cardio is like kind of all over the place. But he is all-time tough. He chases finishes. He has wrestling, and he should be able to beat Kyle literally everywhere. So Mateusz Rebecki is the pick. I am definitely going to bet on him just for nostalgia purposes, but this time I'm not going to be annoyed at him blowing up whatever I did. So Mateusz Rebecki, the fairly confident pick here. And you know what else I'm fairly confident in? The fact that you're going to send me some mail. We film vlogs. First of all, the last vlog we filmed was UFC Oklahoma City. I think it was literally the best vlog I've done. So I recommend you go watch that. Personally, I love filming the vlogs. It's actually a shit ton of work because I'm self-conscious that I'm like recording in public. I'm self-conscious about, do I look stupid? Like, I'm not an influencer. I sit here, I talk about fights to this camera, and I hang out with you guys. But you're in public like, hey guys, you feel like such a nerd. But I do love watching them back. I'm like documenting my life. And I know I started this with, first of all, I don't have a second of all. But on the vlogs, we do open up mail. That last vlog, Oklahoma City, the letter that we got in the beginning of that vlog, absolutely insane. It was incredible. So if you want to send a letter or anything, I'll eat it if it's packaged. If it's not, if you're like, here's my grandma's cookies. Yeah, I don't think so. I know what anthrax looks like. That ain't happening. But if it's a wrap Chips Ahoy, let's have a conversation about it. If you want to send something for the vlog, we want pics, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. Then we have Bogdan Grad taking on Dennis Buzukja. Bogdan Grad is 15-4 in his career, and for some reason, people are like, this guy sucks. But he's a well-rounded guy. He's got solid striking. His striking is very straightforward. He sticks to jabs. He has setups, but he doesn't chase knockouts. He's got heavy kicks. He invests in the legs early to try to slow you down. He will work in some wrestling as well. He'll attempt multiple takedowns, and then he'll focus on control more than submissions. He doesn't do anything flashy, but he does do everything fairly well. He is coming off that knockout loss to Luke Riley, where he was having early success, especially with the wrestling, but then he was knocked out in the second round. He's taking on Dennis Buzukja, a come-forward striker with solid wrestling and some guts. He doesn't have much of a chin, but he is tough. And he does have clean striking technique with power and then aggressive takedowns to round him out. He stays busy on the feet and he is fast enough to hang out. but he doesn't really threaten the wrestling as much as he should, considering how good of a wrestler he actually is. He is coming off that left hook knockout loss to Mauricio Barbosa. I mentioned, people just, for some reason, assume Bogdan sucks. They're vocal about it. They say he sucks. They jump to conclusions. But frankly, so does Dennis. I kind of disagree with both of those statements. I think both of these guys are decent fighters, and I think they've just had some really tough matchups. And breaking this down seems simple, and most people are just going to look at this and be like, okay, Bogdan's going to win. Like, that's it. Bogdan. Dennis keeps losing. Bogdan. But Dennis can wrestle. And if he chooses to wrestle in this fight, he could have some success. Bogdan is undersized. I know it only looks like a 1-inch difference here. Dennis is going to be significantly larger. And Bogdan might get bullied in this matchup. I'm going to pick him. He is the pick because I think the striking is going to be so much better. And even though Dennis is a credentialed wrestler, he for some reason doesn't use it. This is a tricky fight. I'm probably not going to bet it here. Bogdan's going to be the pick, but I promise you, Dennis is not as bad as his record indicates. Those are just some tough matchups in the mix. Then we have a Michael Oliveira taking on Oban Elliott. This is another UFC newcomer, but he's not from the region. He's Brazilian. Michael Oliveira is an insanely fast and busy striker. He loves to close a distance, and then he'll throw what feels like 200 strikes a minute. He loves to back people up, and he overwhelms them. He also has fantastic power, so if it lands clean while throwing in that ridiculous volume, he can put you to sleep. He will get the occasional takedown, but it is never his plan A. His takedown defense is just okay, but it's relatively untested in that department. He is coming off that quick Contender Series knockout, which earned him the call up to the big show. He's taking on Oban Elliott, a well-rounded guy with 15 full minutes of cardio and plenty of tools in the bag. When he's striking, he likes to dance around the outside and then fire off overhands to come in. He's a fast, athletic guy with flashy spins, okay takedown defense. If he is taken down, there are definitely grappling holes, and those holes were just recently exploited against Jonathan Mikalev, where he was clearly the better striker, but he got taken down and submitted. This is not as clear as people are going to make it. Minus 400, you're just snap decision. I don't necessarily agree with that. Michael is the pick. He should win. But odds matter. And Oban, yes, he's on a recent skid, but that's because he was taken down. His losses are from people who are able to take him down. That is not how Michael wins his fights. Oliveira's not looking to do that. So we're going to have a good striker versus a good striker. And Oliveira will look to come in with speed and power and volume, while Oban's going to be looking to keep things at range and picking his shots. So I do expect that the insane volume and the pressure from Oliveira is going to be too much for Elliott. And I think he's going to manage to find himself a win, maybe even a finish. But maybe, betting-wise, I don't love minus 400. Maybe we get lucky with a 1.5 round line, because frankly, the over seems solid. They're both capable strikers, so this fight might go a little bit long. But don't look at Oban's recent skid and be like, oh, here we go, a prospect. That was because he got taken down. And Michael's not really going to be shooting takedowns, certainly not early. Then we have Ludovit Klein returning after an insane, disgusting ankle injury to take on Tofiq Musayev. Ludovit Klein's a very good striker. He's smooth, he's fast, he's accurate, does a really good job keeping fights technical. He hides kicks behind a jab. He never throws anything lazy. He doesn't get out of position. He has a solid 76% takedown defense and will look to offensively wrestle if he's losing the striking exchanges. He's coming off that ankle-breaking win over Mateusz Rebecki, where he was dominating, but he literally snapped his ankle in half and was just laying on his back in the third round, and he survived to be able to get the win. He's taking on Tofiq Musayev. This is a beard with no mustache, but he is far more exciting than a typical wrestler. He throws everything with 100% intent, and he will hunt for finishes on the feet. On the ground, also hunting for finishes. He's a good wrestler, powerful striker, tough matchup for people who cannot immediately take him down. He is coming off the wrestle heavy win over Ignacio Bahamondes, where he was knocked down, but he was able to survive and ultimately put up 8 minutes of control on the board. The fact that Ludovit Klein was able to survive the third round of his last fight and then win, incredible. The dude's ankle was completely fucked. And Mateusz Rebecki was on top of him, throwing everything possible to get him out of there. And he somehow managed to not get finished by those strikes while feeling the pain of an ankle that snapped in half. And oddly enough, all Mateusz had to do to win that fight was just stand up. If he just stood up, was like, all right, I'm going to try to get this to the feet, the referee would have been like, Ludovit, you have to stand up. And he wouldn't be able to. And they would have called the fight. Fortunately for Ludovit, that's not what happened. Anyway, for this fight, I do think Klein's going to win. I think he is 100 times the striker in this matchup. He's got really good takedown defense. And I know for a fact that Tofiq can be rocked. He's not like this brick-headed granite chin guy. So assuming that Ludovit is 100%, because this is kind of a quick turnaround for a broken ankle, but assuming he's 100% and we don't have any limited movement or residual issues from the ankle, pretty confident here, Ludovit is the pick. And you know what else I'm confident in? The fact that I will send you $50. The only thing you need to do to get $50 is go to this URL. You go to this URL, you use any of our affiliate links to sign up, you make a deposit, and then we send you $50 as a thank you because they'll send us a commission. That's how affiliate links work. You use the link, they'll send me a one-time commission. I send you a one-time $50. Everybody wins. If you have done this before and you didn't get paid, shoot me an email. We get so many of these every week. Some do fall through the cracks, so shoot me an email. If you haven't done it, it's $50. Do it. Use the URL, sign up, make a deposit, get yourself paid. And while we're talking about the website and random URLs, why don't you poke around, become a premium member? We have the greatest set of tools this space has ever seen. You know why? Because we're some of the only people that even have tools. Everybody else is trying to sell you some ridiculous overpriced bullshit where it's a list of bets. A list of bets. Sometimes it's fancier than other times, but it's a list of bets. Here are my bets for the weekend. It's one guy. Maybe he hits, maybe he doesn't. There are people charging $20 an event. There are people charging $150 a month, and they are offering nothing other than a list of bets. We have spent the time to build, code, develop, test, and implement tools, multiple tools for DFS, tools for betting, tools for fantasy and artificial intelligence. We went out, we found some of the best cappers this space has, and we brought them on board. BetSam is up over 40 units on the year, and his bets are included, just like mine, just like Jacob's, just like Kunith. All of the picks, all of the bets, all of the tools are in one package for $10. And you might say, Ange, how is it $10? We're in the volume business. First of all, it's $10 because I respect you too much to try to take more. Second of all, it's $10 because I told you from day one it was going to be $10 and I wasn't going to change it. And here we are. We haven't changed it 3 years later. Now, I wish I did make it $20 because I can make $20 sound like nothing. But unfortunately, I said 10. So we're stuck with 10. So it's $10. If you like it, you just keep it. And next month, you'll pay another 10. A month away. If you don't like it, cancel. It was $10. It is the greatest service this space has ever seen. That is an objective fact. You can hate my guts, but that is an objective fact. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Here's what an entire month looks like. Here's what $10 looks like. All the tools I mentioned, all the cappers, all the picks, and you're going to get that for this card, the 2 Vegas cards, and UFC 330. Let's jump right in to the main card. We're going to open up the UFC Belgrade main card with Milos Janicic taking on Noah Gugnon. Listen, the research for this card was grueling. Luckily for you, I'm weeks ahead. So I've been grinding through this tape for a while now. We got Milos Janicic, nasty striker. He has 19 wins. All 19 are by finish. He's got that pretty tight stance. Like, he's really stiff and he's kind of bent over. He does a good job circling. He stays active. He's got a long jab. He'll step in. He'll turn the body to make it as long as possible. He does throw in combinations. He is mostly a boxer. He's even done the dirty boxing. He doesn't throw many kicks, but he does throw a ton of elbows and knees if he is in the clinch. He doesn't have any offensive grappling to offer, but he has takedown defense and he can slip his hips and be durable. He is taking on Noah Gugnon. Fast, clean kickboxer who will blast kicks and then throw in combination to the head. He stays long in his strikes as well, and he will extend to the body and then come up to the head. If he's in the clinch, he'll fire elbows and he will work some trips. He's a well-rounded guy who will shoot takedowns. They're not the best, but they are there. He can grapple as well, does a nice job snatching things up in scrambles. What's tough about this card, as I've mentioned a few times, the insane amount of UFC newcomers. There's 8. There are 8 people on this card that have never fought in the UFC before, and that requires a ridiculous amount of research and tape study. That's not like, all right, I know how Ludovit Klein fights. I'll go back, I'll watch a fight just to remind myself, but I don't need to do 13 tape studies for Ludovit freaking Klein. For these two, I do. I do need to watch almost every single fight. And what's weird about this card is we all, or at least anybody doing any diligent tape study, we're all watching the same shit. There's the same fights that we're watching. Yet we have come to such different conclusions because I did the tape study and my conclusion here was that Noah is the better fighter. His offense is great. He's got better grappling if he needs to. And I think he's more defensively sound, but 90% of you, 90%, have picked Milos. You think Milos is the better fighter. I get it, right? 19 wins, 19 finishes. And I think that's where people are stopping. I think, oh, there's 19 finishes, pick. The reality is, I think Noah is just the overall better fighter. There's a big experience gap, but maybe it doesn't matter. So I'm going to pick Noah here. I think his versatility in strikes and where he puts them should suit him well. So I'm going to pick him. We don't have odds yet, but if he's a healthy underdog, I mean, it might be worth a stab. Then we have Viasto Seppo taking on Gilbert Urbina. Tell me this dude isn't just Andre Petrosky with some tattoos to try to work his way back into the UFC. Anyway, we got Viasto Seppo. He's a Serbian, and like the rest of the Serbians, he's on this card, and he is primarily a striker. He's fast, he's powerful, he throws with intent and in combination. He will flurry massive punches until you're broken. And he does that both on the feet and on the ground. He doesn't shoot a ton, but he will choke the occasional double out there. If he's just throwing like crazy and you're not falling down, he'll shoot a takedown. But his issue, however, is he's very reckless on the feet, so he is very hittable. He has no striking defense whatsoever, and every single piece of tape you do, his head is just snapping back with basically every strike his opponent throws. He's taking on Gilbert Urbina, a good grappler who is competent on the feet as well. He's got very high striking output of almost 6 significant strikes per minute, but if you watch his fights, it's clear there's no striking defense on his side either, and he just kind of moves forward. He has a great pace, sets some solid volume, good cardio. He can keep all of that up for 15 full minutes if his chin will allow it. He is coming off that knockout loss to the main eventer of this card, Uros Medic, where he had Uros dropped early and then he ate a massive left and he himself was knocked stupid. Seppo should be able to crowd Urbina and then put him out, right? He should be able to knock out Urbina. So if you're picking Seppo by knockout and you're betting on it, you should be fine. My only caution would be that the dude is a wind-up toy. You just wind him up, you put him out there, and he just moves forward like this. That's it. He just moves forward like this. There's no variation of what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, or what speed he's going to do it in. As soon as that ref says go, it's just this. So if Urbina or anybody else decides they got decent striking defense and maybe a takedown or two, all of a sudden, this fight could get weird. Plus, Seppo's record is wildly inflated by wins over bums. Luckily for everybody here, Gilbert Urbina is basically a bum. So Seppo should win, and he probably wins by finish. Then we have Dusko Todorovic taking on Robert Valentine. Dusko Todorovic, technical striker. He's got good power. He also has takedowns and offensive BJ data round him out. He's a high-volume guy. He lands almost 5 significant strikes per minute, but there are big questions about his chin. He's got okay takedown defense at 42%. He is coming off his first win in 3 years where he took down Jose Medina twice, and then he submitted him in the first round. He's taking on Robert Valentine, a creative striker who's going to plot forward low hands and plenty of spinning techniques. He's got powerful hands and willingness to exchange, but he is also ridiculously hittable. He doesn't go to his takedowns often, but he does have them in his back pocket. He's very exciting to watch. He will look for finishes absolutely everywhere. He's coming off that career-saving win over Julian LeBlanc, where he blasted the inside of his leg 4 times, then he just threw him to the ground like a child and submitted him. This fight is a race to the bottom. No one has ever accused Robert or Dusko of being boring, but they have also avoided any accusations of being good. This could definitely go a few different directions, but I do think Robert's probably the overall more durable guy, and I think his Timu Jiri Prochazka style is going to work for him here because he's just going to move forward, get in Dusko's face, and Dusko may plant and throw, but Robert hopefully will mix in a takedown and just grind and be dirty and make it ugly, and if he has that fight and if he ends up on top, he could absolutely win. So Robert Valentine is the pick, but I don't know how you could bet money on this fight. Either one of them could end up flatlined in the first 30 seconds, or we can end up with 15 minutes of just the sloppiest shit you've ever seen in your entire life. Then we have Marcin Tybura taking on Alexander Rakic in the featured fight of the evening. Marcin Tybura is a grinder. He never quits. He's busy everywhere. His striking is just okay, and while he doesn't have heavyweight power, he does have volume. The strikes are really there to set up his takedowns. If he gets a takedown, he'll pound on you till you quit, and he doesn't really need to look for submissions. If he doesn't get a takedown, he'll strike. He's a very well-wanted guy. He's been around the block. He's fought a who's who of the division, and even though he's at an advanced age of 40, he's somewhat durable. He is coming off that close loss to Tyrell Fortune where he was taken down 3 times. He's taken on Alexander Rakic. He is a dynamic striker who uses his length and his reach to out-technique and out-decision his opponents. He mixes in kicks really well. He has no issues transitioning from leg kicks to head kicks while moving forward. And while he does have some power, he likes to fight on the outside and not necessarily look for a brawl. He's a low-volume technical striker who's got good footwork and distance control, but almost no chin. He is riding a 4-fight skid. Most recently, he was knocked out by Azamat Murzakanov. Rakic should be thanking whatever God he believes in that Marcin Tybura doesn't have power. Because Marcin will not be the better striker and probably doesn't have good enough wrestling to grind this or get it to the ground. So the one-punch power, not a factor here. Not a factor. And really, the only path to beat Rakic for most people is that one-punch power because he has no chin. Outside of no chin, the technique is there, and he's pretty well-rounded. Now, obviously, Rakic has lost 4 fights in a row, but 3 of those losses are to former world champions, and the other was against a killer. Rakic has no chin, but he has incredible footwork. He's got great striking, good takedown defense. So I think he wins here. Minus 300 on a guy that just lost 4 fights in a row by knockout. Not all 4, but clearly his last one. Seems like very risky money to me. But Rakic is the pick. And then we have the co-main event of the evening. Bit of a switcheroo here because Bogdan Guskov will move to another card. Jan got moved around, and there was a lot of movement here. But we got Navajo Sterling taking on Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz, former light heavyweight champion of the world, who has had a rocky couple of fights since then. He's a striker who hits incredibly hard. He's got solid wrestling. We don't really see that wrestling often, but it is there, and you certainly saw it against Prime Izzy and even Alex Pereira. He's a well-rounded guy. He's had a world of experience. He's 12-8-2 in the UFC with multiple wins over world champions. He is coming off the draw to Bogdan Guskov, where he won the first round, he won the third round, but because he is old, he almost got finished in the second round, gave up a 10-8. He's taking on Navajo Sterling, a former kickboxer who was early in his MMA career, but continuing to evolve. And he's got quite a few fights, and he's certainly putting it all together. Navajo is pretty mobile. Navajo's somewhat powerful. He does a good job investing in the body early. He's not a high-volume guy, but he makes the strikes that he does throw count. If he is inside the pocket, he'll plumb your head. He'll throw up knees. If he's outside, he'll keep you at range. He'll stay mobile enough to avoid the takedowns. He's coming off that knockout win over Iwan Kutalaba where he lost the first round. He was taken down 5 times, but he ended up putting it together. And then in the recap, I screamed about how much this guy is overrated and we should fade him. Navajo is not that guy. I've been saying that since his first UFC performance. He just isn't who they said that he was, yet he continues to get favorable matchups. And to his credit, he is finding ways to win. He hasn't completely shit the bed yet. This is definitely a giant step up in competition as Jan is a former world champion, but luckily for Navajo, this dude's 43 years old. He's older than I am. He's 43 years old. Navajo might not be the killer that we thought he was, but he is absolutely a very good striker with clean footwork. He should be able to dance around, avoid that random Polish power, and just be overall too fluid to be taken down or get himself another win. Navajo's going to be the pick, but if he loses, I will proudly give you the I told you so speech. Proudly. Told you so. Told you. I will do it, and I'll pretend that I didn't even pick him here. And you could just get edits of every single recap of Navajo Sterling fight where I'm like, this guy sucks. Fade him in the future. The problem is they just haven't given us the matchup where it's very obvious to fade him. He's a 43-year-old man. I'd love to fade Navajo. The guy's 43. Unfortunately, Navajo's the pick. Then we have the main event of the evening. We have Uros Medic, who this card was built around, taking on Daniel Rodriguez. Now, if you're wondering why you haven't seen Daniel Rodriguez in a year, that's because he was in a Mexican prison charged for drug smuggling. But here he is, free as a bird, looking to put together a win streak. Uros Medic, clean technical striker, comes out fast and loose. He has a 100% finish rate in his 13 wins, and unfortunately, his 3 losses as well. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got legit killer instinct. His chin can be questioned, but when he smells blood, he's just going all out. His takedown defense sits at a middle of the road 55%, but that is a bit skewed because he was taken down 7 times by Motobek Orobai, which completely threw those numbers out of whack. He is coming off that knockout win over Jeff Neal. He is taking on former prisoner Daniel Rodriguez, a very good boxer who picks his shots well. He's got good takedown defense, but not much to offer in the grappling department. His boxing is crisp, and when he's not worried about the takedowns, his hands are deadly, and then he hits a rhythm. When he is worried, he can fade, he can be a little hesitant, and doesn't get things going. But I don't suspect grappling's is really going to matter in this matchup. He is coming off that decision win over Kevin Holland and an hour of rec time per day. In all seriousness, no, what happened to Daniel's actually kind of fucked. He was driving from California to Mexico. Weed is legal in California and it's decriminalized in Mexico, so not illegal. But because they found a little bit of weed on him at the border and he wasn't already inside of Mexico, they slapped a trafficking charge on him. They locked him up for around 8 months. Now, he said during that time in prison, he was well cared for. He was working out. They brought him in equipment and people knew he was a fighter, so they treated him well and with respect. But even with the training in Mexico, coupled with what I can assume was a full camp back home, I don't think he wins this fight. Uros has been a killer on the feet, and while D-Rod is very durable and a very good boxer, Uros is next level dangerous. So I think Uros at home looks really good here. I think he gets a win. I think he's fast. He's clean. D-Rod has shot takedowns before. I don't suspect it to happen here. Uros is faster. He's more diverse. He hits harder. This honestly might be a bit of a showcase. I'm going to pick Uros, but hopefully the crowd recognizes the bullshit that Daniel Rodriguez just went through to get here, and they do cheer for him, winning or losing. Guys, that's the breakdown. Thank you so much for being here. Genuinely, I appreciate every last one of you. I appreciate you stopping by every freaking Sunday, and then again on Tuesdays, unless I'm traveling for work, then maybe it's a Wednesday or Thursday. But I appreciate all of the love we've been getting. We're hitting all-time numbers on the premium membership side. So for all of you who have become premium members, thank you. If you're not and you want to become one, great. Check it out. If you're just here for the entertainment to watch a video, awesome. Click the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a thing. Also, we like to support the people who support us. Hayabusa, if you don't know, makes some of the highest quality training gear on planet Earth. Period. End of story. They got some of the best gloves and cool. They have insanely high quality jiu-jitsu stuff. And if you watch UFC BJJ, that's all Hayabusa. And now they have dipped their toes in the fashion and the wrestling world. They have wrestling shoes, singlets, headgear. They've released t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, just for comfort, not for training. So check it all out. Their stuff is insanely high quality, which means it's not cheap. It costs a couple of bucks. But if you want good, high quality stuff for a little bit off, use promo code WWP. Support them. They support us. If you watch any of the vlogs, my entire garage is Hayabusa branded. This punching bag right next to me, Hayabusa. I have an entire wall in my office just of Hayabusa boxing gloves. Check them out. Support them, which in turn supports us. Use promo code WWP. If you want to mail something for the vlog, we're filming a vlog for UFC 330. We got a couple of weeks. Send it to We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas, 75078. And of course, premium. I plugged that enough in this video. You guys get the riff right now. But we got a couple of really good fights coming up. This is a good card. And I guarantee, while it may not have the name value because there's so many UFC newcomers, it will be fun. Because all of these Serbians and everybody else they brought in, they're strikers. So they're going to be swinging. Then we go back to the Apex for a very interesting fight card with some fun matchups. Then we have UFC 330, which has 2 title fights. And frankly, I was like, Islam's going to win this fight. And the more I look at it, despite how cringy Ian Gary can be, it's like, damn, dude, if Ian Gary defends just 1 or 2 of these takedowns, the striking's not even going to be remotely close. So that's an interesting matchup. Then we go back to the Apex for another interesting matchup. We got a lot of good fights coming up. If you need some help, check out the website. If you don't, thank you for being here. And good luck this weekend.